He was going to go to Nashville. I didn't want to go with him, and he told me he wasn't going to pull over, so I just got out. I'm like, and you got out like that? He's like, probably wasn't my smartest idea.
Hey everybody, welcome to Music and Cigars with John and JR. I'm JR.
I'm John. And today we have Daniel Willis with us, Spring Hill police officer, a good friend of ours that we met here at the Mission Cigar. He was born and raised in Murray County. Been married for 13 years, been with the same girl 17 years. Before becoming a police officer, he worked in an aluminum foundry for 5 years. And since then, since becoming a police officer, he's worked for Mount Pleasant, Columbia Police Department, now in Spring Hill. He has SWAT experience where he was narcotics and vice investigator as well in Columbia, correct? Now he's a patrol sergeant here in Spring Hill. He also has a training program for snipers for police, correct?
Yes, sir.
He likes Jeeps.
Love Jeeps.
Rock crawling.
Jeeps. Rock crawling.
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
man.
that's the best.
That's awesome. We got a little something in common. You like watches and cigars.
Oh, yeah, watches and cigars. It's awesome.
So welcome, man. Glad to have you here.
Thank you guys for having me, man.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
It's an absolute honor to have you here. You know, I've said it before. I mean, John and I we have so much respect for first responders, for guys that don't know who you are, that will jump in front of a bullet for you, basically. I mean, go out there and protect you. And thank you.
Man, I appreciate you guys. It means a lot to have the support of you guys and the support of our community. We're really fortunate here in Spring Hill that we have a strong backing from the community, and the support is just, it means all the world to us.
That's
to have
awesome.
that, man.
That's
It's
awesome.
great.
So I met you on a Tuesday morning.
Ah, yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir.
that we do here called the Three Taverns, right?
Yes, sir.
Tavern Talks.
Tavern Talks.
Yes. But that's where I got to hear your story a little bit, and it really intrigued me. So I would like to ask more questions.
Oh, great.
When you first started in Mount Pleasant,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Was that a volunteer kind of thing, or was that?
Yeah, it was. So at the time, I was still in vocational school for electronics and electromechanical, and that was part of my job at the aluminum foundry, working in maintenance. And I'd always felt a calling to law enforcement. When I was in high school, I was a police explorer with Columbia Police Department. So we would train, and once a year we would go to competitions to kind of prove what our training how well we had done. So, and we would ride with officers, but we received the same training as they did. So once you turn 21, you can't do that program anymore, because now you can be a police officer for real.
Okay, I see.
So I did that from 17 to 21, and during that time where I got out of high school, I ended up working at the aluminum foundry. My mother had worked there for several years before, and then my grandmother had been there before she did. So that led me to be there. While I was in vocational school, felt that calling, and Mount Pleasant had a volunteer reserve officer program.
Okay.
Put my application in, and they started that out in January of 2015. So
And how old were you then?
At that time, I was 24, and I wanted to get into law enforcement when I could at 21.
So it's always been something that's been on your mind, is you've always been intrigued by law enforcement, and it's something you just kind of wanted to do.
Yes, sir, it was. And
Wow.
during that time frame to fill in between 18 to 21, I ended up working at the foundry to get there. Well, part of being in school there, I had a contractual agreement that I had to fulfill as well. So as a way for me to gain experience and to give back to the community that I grew up in, the city of Mount Pleasant, I had applied for that and was selected to be one of the reserve officers they brought in that year. So I started off with that officially in February of 2015, and did that all the way up until January of 2016, when I was hired full-time by Columbia Police Department.
So let me ask, so when you were doing that program, was it a lot of just sort of ride-alongs and just sort of assisting, or I mean, just kind of, is that a way like a to see if you really want to do this kind of a thing?
It would be a great way to do that. And now in today's time, reserve capacities are not as common as they used to be. There are a lot. No, don't necessarily say higher standards, but there are different standards by the state post commission, so the Commission of Law Enforcement, for what is required to be a reserve officer. So there are several departments that just don't have programs, but it was a great way to either further instill that, yes, this is the job I want to do, or maybe, you find out it's not for you. Yeah. And I always felt that I knew, and it further affirmed it for me. And being in a reserve capacity, like you say, so you'll go through your training program. When you finish with their minimum training requirements, you'll ride with designated officers and start learning and getting experience. And then once you have reached a certain amount of experience, then you're allowed to kind of be in a car on your own and respond to calls for service on your own, which of course, your people that are working full time that day are going to come with you. They're going to be your backup. So you're going to have somebody there who's a full-time officer as well, but you have the ability to conduct traffic stops or to respond to calls for service by yourself.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
There's a build-up. It lets you get you experience, but it also gives you someone to be there to help guide you.
Excellent.
So once you were hired on to Columbia Police Department, you came on as a patrol officer, but then you became involved in narcotics and investigations, right?
Yes, sir.
What led to that? Is that something that was offered to you, or was that something you pursued?
That was something I pursued when I did the Explorer program in high school. Our county had a very active drug task force, right? So that is a culmination of different officers from different departments and entities that come together, and they do drug enforcement and other associated crimes that are with that. Columbia had the vice and intelligence, or vice narcotics, depending on what time period that was. And they dealt with narcotics, also alcohol enforcement, and if anything prostitution-wise, anything that falls under vice, we would address that. So when I started in Columbia as a patrol officer, I would do the focus enforcement in our problem areas, and I enjoyed the challenges that came with doing it, and knew that I ultimately wanted to be involved in more long-term investigations and having a different, greater impact, in my view, towards doing that, more so than just focused street level enforcement, which it does have a good impact on the community. After proving that I wanted to do that, the opportunity to become an investigator came open, and I showed interest, and I was afforded that opportunity, which I was very blessed to have.
That's awesome. And how long did you do that?
I did that for 2.5 years.
Okay. And then you transferred up here to Spring Hill.
Yes, sir, I did.
And then you came in as just like a patrol officer, but then you worked your way to patrol sergeant, right?
Yes, sir.
What does that mean? What does patrol sergeant mean? Does that mean you're in charge of the people on patrol that day?
Yes, sir. So our shifts in Spring Hill, we'll have our patrol officers, and each shift has 2 patrol sergeants. So the sergeants are your frontline supervision. If necessary, we delegate who responds to which call. We help to ensure that the proper information is relayed from our dispatch if we need something specific, or if the responding officer may not be thinking about a certain detail or something like that. Maybe we've had, as far as, hey, do we have prior call history here, something like that. We'll answer that, and we'll respond and help them in any way that we need to help.
And so anytime there's an issue, I mean, like you see these YouTube videos of these people that are freaking out at a traffic stop and they're screaming for, I want to see your manager, that kind of thing. So you would be the guy that would come out.
Oh yeah, I'm the guy that gets to talk to the angry people sometimes.
Man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's awesome to kind of know somebody that does what you do. And I feel like it's the duty of us citizens to kind of look out for you guys too.
Absolutely.
I show up to Kroger, my wife and I, and there's cop cars all over the place. And I look up and there's Daniel, and he's bolting in the door. So I sat there and said a prayer for you, you know, for safety. And
That means the world.
and you know, that is something I feel like the community needs to do for the police officers, because I know there's bad cops, there's bad everybody and everything,
Sure.
right? But by and large, I'd say 95% are good, honest, just
I'd
want
say
to do
even
their
higher
job.
than
And that's
Yeah.
99,
Yeah.
probably higher than what I said.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean,
So-
again, you guys are the first ones to run in. You guys are the first ones to any kind of a catastrophe. I mean, if you guys get called and you don't even hesitate. And I think people forget that. I think that people forget that, you know, I mean, you get idiot people that are just like, oh, a cop's just trying to give me a ticket and bum me out. It's like, no, I mean, there's a reason that, you know, what you guys are doing in those regards. But even still, I mean, I saw a funny video a while back, and it was with when there was the riots going on in Seattle. And there was a pawn shop, and these guys were busting windows, you know, trying to get into this pawn shop. And the pawn shop owner showed up, and he had a chainsaw. He flipped the chainsaw, you know. And this was a whole anti-cop thing, you know. They're like,
Oh, yeah.
The first thing out of the one guy's mouth was, "I'm going to call the cops." And it's just like, are you kidding me? You know?
Oh yeah.
It's just, anyways.
They get there. Yeah.
yeah,
That's still the go-to.
yeah. So what got you into the sniper thing?
So I'd always had interest in snipers and that, because it's not just a skill, it's a craft.
Yeah,
Right? It is a
absolutely.
craft. And when I got into law enforcement, I had a mentor. He is one of my very best friends. I consider him a brother now, that we founded the company together. Kind of exposed me that law enforcement had snipers as an element of SWAT, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, I want to do that. Like I've always wanted to be a part of that and learn the craft and be a true student of the craft. And finding that out from him and with his guidance, started pursuing that and pursued it on my own, outside of just kind of standing by waiting for the department to do that.
Sure.
And it has been one of my strongest passions in my professional life that I've been able to do.
That's great.
Well, the sniper, I mean, my gosh, that's the guy that will neutralize the situation, that will take care of the bad guy that's about to off a bunch of, I mean, wow.
And the resolution, yes, sir.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's an unfortunate end.
It is.
You know, and it's not something to be celebrated that you're going to go and off somebody. But I mean, at the same time, you're saving lots of lives. And I mean, this is, you got to neutralize the situation. And wow, that's intense, man.
It's always been a passion of mine, and I enjoy it, and I'm blessed to be able to share what knowledge I've gained with other people.
So now so you have, I would assume, from different departments or maybe even around the country, different people that come and will like learn from you guys.
We do. So we have myself and my partner Vince Morgan, our company Custos Development Group. Custos is Latin for guardian. We will have an agency that will solicit us to teach a course,
right?
And then other people from the area, really more so region. So you know, anybody that touches Tennessee, right? If we have a class in Middle Tennessee, we may have some guys from Alabama come up. We may have somebody from Kentucky come, because when you get into that role, it's not just like you wouldn't get into being a police officer and just kind of hit the street, which I know some guys that's happened to, but you wouldn't just hit the street and go, you know, you have that training. So they need to go through an approved course. And like here in the state of Tennessee, anytime you have training courses like that, there'll be submitted to the Post Commission, so Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission. And our curriculums are post approved, have been in the past, and they'll come through our class, and as long as they demonstrate the proficiency and pass the test, then they've got a baseline to start building on.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Very cool.
So outside of police officer work,
Yeah.
you like rock crawling, four-wheeling.
Oh, yes.
You got a Jeep?
What exactly is rock crawling? I mean,
Oh,
you're not
man.
down there crawling rocks. You're talking about it.
we'll get in the Jeeps and go to parks. So in the southeast part of the United States, most often you're going to go to a park. So an off-road park with property, and they'll have trail systems, and they'll be rated with different difficulty ratings. And that way, if you have a smaller built Jeep, you have the ability to still hit trails. But then if you have this really big built Jeep, big engines, big tires, you have something that's a challenge for you as well. And on the West Coast, they have a lot of public land where people can go ride. But here in the Southeast, a lot of private land.
I've seen those videos where it's like you see this Jeep and it's just like, and it looks like it's crawling. It's
oh,
amazing.
yes, I love it. It's great.
And so you got a Jeep that's lifted, suspension on it.
Oh yeah, it's custom suspension, extended wheelbase. That extended wheelbase helps to keep it stable. So when you have like a regular Jeep with regular stock wheels and tires, that's fine. But especially on Jeeps like the TJ model like mine, so that'd be 97 to 06, they're so short that if you go too big, now you're really unsteady.
So do you still run the straight six in it, or do you got a V8 in it?
So currently, I still
work in
run.
progress.
It's never finished. Don't let anybody ever tell you it's finished, because
Nothing's
it's
finished.
not.
I'm a car guy. No
It's-
car's
there's
ever
never
finished.
finished.
Nothing's finished.
Currently running a healthy 4-liter with plans in January. So I want to get all the season behind us, and then like the holiday rides we'll have at the end of the year. January of next year, the plan is either 5.3 or 6.0 LS swap.
Cool. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, love it.
But man, that straight six in the Jeeps is the best motor they ever made.
By and far.
My dad's got a Jeep Cherokee with that straight six in it, but 430,000 miles.
I was going to say, I've had one with 300 something, and it just, if you keep oil in it.
Yeah.
And even then, I had one time, I was like 20 when I had this Jeep. It had the 258, so the carbureted version. And I didn't know it, but I broke a motor mount, and my oil filter got a hole in it, and all the oil run out.
Ooh.
And I thought it was blown, so I was just giving it everything it had to get out of there, and then got on the road and drove it like 1.5 miles back to the trailer. And it was just, you could tell it was not happy. So the next day we put new motor mounts in it, and I'm like, well, I'm going to see what goes on with it. Changed the filter, put 6 quarts of oil in it, fired it up. It held 40 pounds of oil pressure. I drove it 2 more years.
Wow.
Told the guy about it when I sold it to him, and he's like, well, if it's lasted 2 more years, it's probably fine. And it still had it for that day. So I'm a firm
that's
believer
awesome.
that 4 liters are great engines.
Daniel, we got a cigar question now.
Let's do it.
What you
Love it.
smoking?
Legal number 9 today.
That right there.
That's a good stick.
That is a good stick. That's
One of my top 5 favorites.
That's one that's over $10 that I will buy every time,
Yes.
because that is a good cigar.
Yes.
That is a good
JR, what you smoking?
So today I'm smoking a Padron 3000 Maduro. It's actually pretty mild. It's my first smoke of the day, and it's really good. I'm enjoying it. What you smoking?
I got the Perdomo 12-year vintage, barrel aged. Great cigar, one of my favorites.
You guys are getting all fancy. I'm
It's
just
a great predominant.
Yeah.
I like it.
The 10 years is usually my daily go-to.
Yeah.
I love that cigar.
Yeah,
But I figured for this, I better give Nick something different.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's
Add some
another
variety.
I guess that's another question for you. What got you into smoking cigars?
So I had never smoked cigars, and I got invited to a gathering of men that ended up being my tribe of people. So my mentor that I mentioned earlier, Vince, brought me in with him, and we met. And I still was not a cigar smoker, but we met at a cigar lounge every time. And a district attorney, he was a prosecutor for the attorney's office, had me meet him at the same cigar spot one day. and it was his birthday. He had grabbed a couple of cigars, and he's like, "Hey man, I got you a cigar." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'd never smoked a cigar before." He's like, "Well, I got you a cigar, and I bought you a cutter and a lighter too." And I'm like, "I guess I'm gonna smoke a cigar today." Smoked that cigar, loved it. Have been a cigar smoker ever since.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's great. So when you're on patrol, are you allowed to smoke?
Can't smoke in our cars. Technically, it is kind of frowned upon for us to be smoking in public. You know, I would like to be able to, but just can't pull it
So
off.
you can't sit there with the radar gun smoking
Oh
a
man,
cigar.
wouldn't it be nice? It would be so nice.
Well, I gotta think too. I mean, you know, after a long day of being out there and dealing with wacko people and whatever that goes on, it's got to be nice to just unwind and have a cigar.
For sure, I love it. And if it's gonna be a night where I don't have to work that night, I'll stay up and have one with coffee that morning.
Yeah.
Since I'm coming off the night shift, you know. So I like the Perdomos for that.
Yeah.
The 10th anniversary champagne,
Yeah,
great cigar with a cup of coffee.
Well, Perdomo, everything they make. Is
Yeah, I mean, Perdomo's great.
Yeah, everything in their line's great.
All right, Daniel. So we do a little thing here called Desert Island. And what that is imagine you're stranded on a desert island for one day. It's just 24 hours. The cruise ship forgot you, and they're coming back the next day to pick you up, so you're not going to die. So during this day, you have 3 cigars,
All right.
1 bottle. A bottle can be water, it can be whiskey, it can be whatever you want to drink, and 1 album to listen to. What are those 3 cigars, 1 bottle, and 1 album going to be?
Start with the 3 cigars.
3 cigars. I'm going to have a Padron 1964.
Good stick.
Love it. Great. Churchill,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Man after my own heart, man.
I love it. A blackened Churchill, the Drew Estates
The Drew
blackened.
Estate Black, and that's a good
Is that the Metallica cigar?
Yes.
And that's funny. I've talked about this before. You know, anytime you get a celebrity endorsement, I mean, my first reaction, I was kind of like, it's probably not very good. That stick is amazing.
Phenomenal.
That's a
Great
good stick.
And I happen to know one of the guys that was involved in the making of that,
that's awesome.
and he did great with it. It's
Yeah,
good.
That's cool.
And for a third, 10th anniversary Maduro.
Okay, that's my favorite
Yes.
cigar.
3 great choices.
I love it. Box press, if I
Yep.
can. Yes,
Yep.
for that one.
So the 1 bottle.
So I have 1 bottle, but I'll give you 2.
All right.
Right? Okay. So that's attainable. I like Bruichladdich Classic Lottie Scotch.
Okay.
It's a 10-year, really good. If I can just get one, Willett Family Reserve. I like Willett.
Yeah, well, it's good.
Willett is
Yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah.
And it
but
goes with your last name, kind of.
I like it. I hadn't thought about that, but that's smart. I like it. I like it. That's great.
Willis likes Willett.
I do. I like it. And they tell me now when I've gone to the liquor stores to get it, they tell me that it's not carried in Tennessee right now. Like no distributors have Willett in Tennessee.
Wow.
I don't know the veracity of that. I don't know what's going on with that, but if I could get it, Purple Top Willett would be awesome.
All right. And that brings us to the album. What album? What music are you going to be listening to?
Gonna be Metallica
All right.
and Justice for No One.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
That's a great one. It's a classic.
Cool.
Yes. I
You-
love it.
Do you listen to music when you're rock crawling, or you just listen to the motor?
So when we're like going between stuff, you got to have music.
Yeah.
Got to.
Pump you up music.
Yeah, get ready. When we're actually in it, music cuts off because I got to be able to hear if I'm about
yeah.
to tear something up.
Yep, absolutely.
You got to hear your suspensions.
Yeah, I got to hear.
bending or cracking.
I got to hear things creaking and crack. Yeah, I got to make sure when we decide to give some throttle that I can hear what metallic sound comes next.
I'm a hot rod guy. I've had plenty of cars that had no stereo, because to me the music was the engine and everything else, right?
Oh, for sure, for sure.
All right, Daniel. So, you pull people over. Have you ever had just like a crazy, weird, or funny experience doing that? I mean, there's got to be a few.
I have. So I was on patrol one day, and it was one of the first days that I ever had an Explorer with me. And we were on patrol, and I saw this car driving just erratically, speed, weaving through the streets. We were over in the east side of Columbia, Tennessee on Woodland Street, and the car went to turn left, and all I saw was a person come out. So somebody had bailed out of the side, of the front passenger side, rolled down the street.
While the car is still moving.
The car never stopped.
God.
Car never stopped. And I'm like, what is going on here? So, of course, I get out with this guy, and I'm like, man, are you okay? What's going on? And he's like, yeah, my friend said that he was going to go to Nashville. I didn't want to go with him, and he told me he wasn't going to pull over, so I just got out. And I'm like, and you got out like that? He's like, probably wasn't my smartest idea, but I didn't get hurt. And I'm like,
oh my gosh.
Well, thank goodness you didn't get hurt. And it was just wild to me. Nothing, you would have thought he had gotten kidnapped and was escaping. Wait
till you get to a stoplight or a stop sign or something.
Yeah, it was right in the middle of just a turn. I guess he took his friend serious. He wanted out of the car, so he got out of the car.
Good Lord.
And a couple weeks later, I saw him walking down the street and got out with him. And I'm like, is that really what was going on? Just to make sure. And he's like, no, yeah. He's like, it works on TV, and I'm like,
wow.
Maybe.
That guy's lucky, man.
Maybe.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
How fast were they going? I mean, probably not.
I would have estimated at least 20.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have broke his neck.
Absolutely.
I'm sure he had a little road rash.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he was wearing a Dickies long sleeve shirt. He got up, and I mean, I guess they're thick enough. I don't know.
Just imagine the conversation. Well, this is my stop.
Yeah. And I'm like, man, if that had been me, I'd probably died.
Oh,
it would have broke my neck, or
that's just crazy.
I would have broke my leg and been bleeding.
Man,
It'd have been terrible. Yeah, so that was pretty crazy. And it was crazy for my Explorer too, because that was their first time ever being out, period, riding with an officer, and they see this an hour after getting in the car with me.
That's unbelievable, man. All right, Daniel, so you have any other stories about, I don't know, bank robberies or anything crazy like that on the SWAT team? Or
we haven't necessarily had any like that. I've been involved in some SWAT call-outs and operations where shots had been fired at law enforcement prior to the team getting there. I've been on the element that went into the building where people were supposed to be and things like that. Fortunately, those have played out for us. It's kind of like John talked about earlier. You always pray to have that blessing of safety and security, and the guidance to be able to apply your skill set should you need to, should that come
to
arise.
Refuse the situation.
If you have to do that, and
your adrenaline pumping pretty heavy, or do you rely on that training, like comfort in the training that you have, or a little of both?
There's a little of both, and I've had this conversation with my mentor Vince before. During those times like that, where you've had that, there's a very interesting sense of calm that will come over you, and it's actually occurring. You're actually pulling up, or you're leaving your final point of where you were at, and you're going to make your entry into this, or you're going to do what you need to do.
That's an absolute, that's a gift. That's I would say a God-given ability that was instilled within you to know that that's what your purpose is. That's what you're meant to do. That
it's
I'm
always
not meant
felt
to
like
do
a calling.
And
and we have people that get into our line of work that they have that realization, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's
right.
But yes, it's a very interesting sense of calm, and of course you're focused,
sure.
and you're very mindful. There is a level of stress, but it's managed. But I had this conversation with my mentor and brother last week about that. And it's just, you know, you remember what you're trained to do and utilize your training and have faith in your ability and the men that are around you and do what has to be done.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's awesome, man.
That's awesome.
So much respect for you guys, man.
Yeah.
Just can't even put it into words, you know.
It means a lot to have everybody's support for sure.
Yeah. So Daniel, thank you for your service.
Thank
and
you.
Sincerely.
we appreciate all you do, putting your life on the line for knuckleheads like us, you know, and our community makes it a much safer place. And thank you for coming on and sharing with us.
Yes, really appreciate that.
I
Really,
appreciate
really.
you guys having us on. Thank you. It's an honor for sure.
Yeah.
It is.